Welcome back, my lovely people, to my small hobby YouTube channel. My name is Tomo and this is part 2 of the Bf109-G6 rockets in 1/35th scale edition. Today we'll finally be doing some painting, but first we need to do some tidying up. This first step includes the back wheel, yes, it spins like that, and of course the mechanism for the rudder. Yes, you get to build a hinge for the rudder, place it inside. It's not the most elegant solution because my sausage fingers do have a problem with making this stuff fit in, and you have to be very careful not to glue the hinge part to the rudder housing. Yes, I found out that the hard way because this is actually my third attempt, but nevertheless I prevailed. I did put a generous amount of glue on the edges just to make sure that it's perfect and airtight, as they say, and here it is, working. Yep. What you're about to witness right now is one of the reasons why these videos take so long. Yeah, the attachment of the tail light is rather annoying. First attempt, second attempt, wait, there's more. And yeah. Nope! Yeah, even fourth. No, wait, no, don't. Ah, darn it. Yeah, and a fifth attempt. Yeah, that took a while, but then I figured it out. Actually, I have one of those wax pencils, and yeah, who'd have thought, huh? I will show it again just for the slow motion. Oh, so satisfying. Look at that, fits in like a glove. Well, the ironic thing about all this, I have to do it again because I'm gonna replace this light with a clear plastic. Now we have to tidy up the cockpit area with various instruments that go on the side walls of the cockpit. And this is the right side of the cockpit, and I'm just gonna place down the fuse boxes, the switches, the knobs, the various cockpity bits and bobs and doodads. Yeah, that's a technical term. I'm such a professional. This is, I think, that the oxygen delivery system, and that would be the fuse panel box that I actually grind down to fit the Quinta Studio decal sheet. This is actually a interesting way to do this, you know, to put the knob inside. And this is the assembly of the what's it called, speed regulator, but I'm sure you're gonna correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But anyway, this is how it goes together, and this is how it glues inside the cockpit. It was a little bit fiddly, but I managed to make it happen. And here again, the wax pencil. Very, very useful tool for this kind of work. Recommend it very much because that was a lifesaver. Anywho, this is how it looks when it's finished. All right, so the engine covers, one on each side. There's a trick here. I put this piece of plastic to cover the hole, but you're not supposed to do that if you are gonna be displaying the engine covers open, because that will prevent the covers from closing, because this piece of plastic will interfere with machine gun barrels. Okay, moving along. If you are enjoying this video series, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. It would mean a lot. Thanks a bunch. Here I'm just showing you what we have to assemble next, one of which is the oil reservoir and the cockpit back wall, which is one of the more annoying things. You have to be really quick when gluing it, and you have to keep it at an angle. This is the oil reservoir. It's pretty straightforward, this piece. Nothing very demanding, just 3 pieces that make it up, and it's basically done. Just slide by it. Look at that, nice fit. Of course, to keep it in place, a liberal amount of cement is required just so that it sticks together nice and firm. Here I'm showing just a quick fit of the cockpit inside the fuselage. There are guide pins inside so that you have to slide back shelf inside rather than on top. And this is the cockpit instrument panel, all ready for the decals. Here's a slight improvement. The front firewall is not very stable when it comes to attaching the instrument panel, and it hangs very badly. So I added this support on the bottom just to make sure that it has something to lean against. Okay, so back to the engine. The engine is pretty detailed right out of the box, but I did add some extra piping to it just so that it will look even better. You can see the arrows pointing at what I actually put there. This one was a little bit more challenging, a gnarly bend through the frame, but it was manageable. I'm not sure, but I think I used millimeter thick pipes. Yeah. Anyway, back to the engine and painting. So this is the Tamiya X1 gloss black, and then I used some aluminum to color the oil pan and the pipe. These extreme colors from AK Interactive are not actually meant to be used with the brush, but I tried it anyway. It works fairly well as long as you do quick passes, otherwise it will melt the bottom layer of paint. And the end result is not as great as if it would be done with an airbrush, but masking everything will be a nightmare, so brush it is. I think it turned out pretty nicely. This is again AK Interactives, but this is I think copper paint. Again, the same principle. Some of the details are hardly seen so on camera, but you can make them out once you can look at the model. I've looked at my Messerschmitt Bf109-G walk-around book from Squadron Signal, and I've seen that there are spark plugs painted in different ways. So this is carmine red for one set of sparks, and I think this is basalt gray for the other. These are just the connectors, and then I'm gonna use plain white to simulate the tips of the connectors. I'll try to find a picture from the book and put it in there whilst I'm editing right now. I hope I don't forget. Oh yeah, not so bad, if I say so myself. This is the turbo. I just put some paint inside the holes to make it look like a mesh. And the color of the exhaust was done by these lovely colors and pigments. And yeah, I think that the actual result, how the engine turned out in the end, looks pretty convincing. Look at that. I do love this exhaust. My God. Who would have thought, huh? One thing to do here would be to attach another pipe that runs from one oil pan to the other, right along the bottom. It was a very easy modification. This is AK's Interactive wire, 0.7 millimeter, I believe. And these are the hooks for the engine that I actually crafted, and these is how I've done it. Some lovely wire and some tweezers. I'm around 3 millimeters from the tip, and I'm just making a half circle around the upper part of the tweezer, then making sure to create a loop. This is not very safe, but this is how I've done it. And then you end up with this little bad boy. Yeah, you attach it to the engine and paint it, and voila, this is how it looks. Okay, so the oil pan is ready to be painted in black, X1, Tamiya, and then this is aluminum paint from AK Interactive. I use the same paint for the prop shaft and other pieces that go in the engine. Then it's time to do the RLM colors for the interior engine bay. I've chosen this color because I've seen it in the pictures. Some are gray, some are this color, it doesn't matter. I chose this because it has a contrast and I think it will look great. This is the back firewall. Again, I'll try to find a picture to put it up for you guys. And this is the engine cover on the inside, and of course the engine bay on the inside. Yeah. And here is the frame that meets the engine. Just a touch of cement. Maybe cement wasn't the greatest idea because I had to do it twice. I had to do a liberal amount of cement because I've already painted the surface and put some clear coat on it. But at the end I managed to make it happen. And I'm attaching this reservoir here. I'm not really sure what this reservoir is, but somebody can tell me in the comments. That's why they're there, to engage with my lovely audience. Now it's time to paint these straps for the oil. I've chosen to do the same color as the frame because again, I've seen how the straps are painted. Nice contrast. And this is the final look before you'll see it all dirty up. And weathering is next. So I've applied a liberal amount of this stuff all over the place. And just before it dried completely, I used a cotton swab to swipe off the excess and a brush to agitate it a little bit more so that it goes in every nook and cranny, so that it will look weathered and dirty up and stuff. So Quinta Studio decals provide you with a number like this for the engine, but unfortunately I destroyed one whilst placing it on the other side. So that was unfortunate. Yeah, who would have thought it would be so much drama in the scale model building world, huh? Anyway, the last thing that I did was clear coated the entire engine.
And so we come to the end of the second adventure. Thank you so very much for watching if you have been. Thank you for commenting, sharing, liking, and subscribing. And I'll see you soon in the next one. Bye bye.